everybody, another comic book haul. Okay, so I got a few new things and a few old things here. I think this should be um, Black Widow, Red Mother, Stealth, and then a few older comics. What did I want to talk about? Well, I guess Gerry Conway kind of got people a buzzing over the last week or so with his ideas of what he thought was wrong with the comic book industry and how he thought things could be fixed. Some of his ideas and suggestions were kind of iffy, but I think he was more right than he was wrong. I mean, I don't know. I think he kind of glibly did that whole sort of stop publishing superhero comics, and I think people took it a little bit more seriously than I think he might have intended it. Um, and the whole thing of like limiting publishing to just 10 to 15 titles per company. Mm. But I think in general, the general vague things that he did touch on, I think he was right, are things that people have been talking about for the last several years now. People in the comic book company, the whole idea of how superhero comics have gotten the storylines have gotten too continuity dependent. The whole idea of like there aren't easy entryways for some people. The idea that we really do need to have more. Um, more comics aimed at kids and teenagers and middle schoolers and whatnot. I don't think he was wrong about that. Again, I think a lot of people have said that. Fans have said that, and professionals have said that as well. Of course, obviously, there's a whole idea with that the direct market, it can't last just as it is. It's really an old model that is just on its last legs, and it's really being sustained by the fact that Marvel and DC know that these are guaranteed sales. So and we really do need to come up with a new marketing and a new distribution model. I don't know what that is. Some people say go digital or whatever. Maybe, you know what I mean? You got to remember, like comics started out as these periodicals, right? They didn't really start out to be these collectible things or these literary things, right? I mean, you were buying them the same way you bought the newspaper or Time magazine or Sports Illustrated or Playboy or whatever. You read them and then you threw them away, or if you just wanted to keep them, you kept them. But that's that's the model from like whatever 80 years ago that they used to sell comics, and that's just over. Wall Street Journal, whether it's Wall Street Journal, Playboy, Sports Illustrated, New York Times, your local paper, what, excuse me, whatever, those, you can still buy the tangible, the tangible things, but they've shifted to another model in the 21st century, and eventually comics are going to have to do that as well. And I really believe we're still doing the old model because, hey, again, Marvel and DC don't have to sell me and you the individual comic. They have to sell it to the retailer. Once they've sold it to the retailer, they're done. So whatever. We'll see what happens. Anyway, comic books. All right, here. So I opened the box, but I didn't take anything out or anything. Just put that over here. Okay then. All right. This might be interesting for some people. Ugh. But yeah, it's also pretty interesting seeing people's reactions. I think most people were like, they kind of went along, said he was right. Other people, it's kind of interesting how I think kind of took it as an attack on how things are now, because obviously, of course, Conway was a writer and editor for Marvel and DC back in the 70s, but he hasn't. Oh, okay, good. But he hasn't really been in the industry for a while. He's just kind of pops in and out once every few years or so. So, oh, what the hell? Oh, okay, then okay. So I think it kind of seemed like some guy, giving his 2 cents into something. And I think people just took it as, some people, I don't think everybody, but I think some people took him as being this old fogey, you know, doing the old back in my day thing. But I don't know. Anyway, okay, here, let's jump into it. So I got Black Widow #1. Okay. Good. Can you see that without the glare? All right. Adams Hughes cover. So I guess I also just read that at first it seemed like this movie had been pushed back to the fall to like maybe November or something like that. But the most recent thing I read was that it's going to be pushed back until May 2021. So that may be the best thing. So, all right. I also read that, or read about this issue so far. The little bit that I've seen where people have talked about it without giving the whole story away, it seems like we're doing another sort of long kiss goodnight thing with Black Widow. And while I like that movie and I think that's a cool premise, it's like there's just so much more we could be doing with our super spy espionage lady that people just, I don't know, that people are just kind of ignoring. I think there's a bunch of reasons for that, but maybe we'll say that for another video. Okay, Red Mother #8. Black Magic #12. All right. Be interesting to pick up where this series left off. #13. Okay, Stealth. They didn't have issue 2, but I've read issue 1. I thought it ended on a pretty good, pretty interesting thing, interesting cliffhanger. Basically, what it is this guy. I think he's a reporter, or whatever. And he has to take care of his dad. His dad may or may not have Alzheimer's or dementia. Meanwhile, there's this brutal vigilante, kicking the crap out of, different superheroes and different villains and criminals and things of that sort. And it seems like the dad may be the crazy superhero or whatever. But that was the cliffhanger for #1. But, we'll see how the story goes. I think, was it Robert Kirkman who came up with this character? Did another miniseries, maybe a year or two ago. So I don't know. I might have to go fish around for that. So, but anyway, here's #3, #4. Let's see here. Glamour Puss #4. Glamour Puss #5. Dave Sims. There is, I'm not too sure why Dave Sims thought this would be a good idea to do as like a monthly comic. Basically, part of it is him just doing, doing stuff like this. Just drawing, glamorous women, models and things of that sort, which is great, which is awesome. But then the other part of it is him kind of doing his tribute to old comic strip artists, Milton Caniff, Alex Raymond, Hal Foster, stuff like that. And yeah, it's like I think he should have did one or the other. Or actually what I think he should have did, he should have just made an actual book like Dave Sims Women. And that would have been a book, that would have been an art book. And then he should have did another book that was telling the story of these old, like I said, comic strip artists. And, that would have been fine. The idea that this was something that was going to sell on the direct market, speaking of the direct market, it's just kind of crazy to me. But okay, so that's 4 and 5. Butcher Baker Righteous Maker. This is one of Joe Casey's weird ass bong water comics where he basically blends these kind of we'll say 70s underground sensibilities with kind of fringe super. Oh, I can't even show you this one. I could probably show it to you, but I'm not gonna risk somebody getting weird about it. But sensibilities and just doing this crazy over the top stuff. Basically, Jay Leno and the former vice president hired this vigilante Butcher Baker to take down some bad guys, and the guy goes driving around this big monster truck, and it's all sex and it's drugs and it's rock and roll and it's hits of acid and whatever else. We probably can't make it out from me showing it to you like this, but it's just the craziest thing here. So all right. And then I also got this Fallen Angel. Now I have not read this before. I've got issue 1, issue 2, and then issue 3. So I guess the idea was that these were some ideas that he wanted to use when he was writing Supergirl for DC, but the editors wouldn't let him put those, wouldn't let him do it in Supergirl. So he took some of those ideas and elements, and he created this creator-owned comic, and they're in here. At least that's what I understand. That's what I've read. So it'll be interesting to get into these things. Okay. So all right. So that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. Everybody have a good day.